is going on, everybody? We are the Painted Lines, and we are here to talk to you about the Sixers and the Detroit Pistons matchup. It just ended. Sixers win 109-98 to 98 to extend their winning streak to 5 on the season. I'm with my boy Austin Krell at NBA Krell on Twitter, our Sixers beat reporter for the Painted Lines. How you doing, Austin?
Just lovely. Another gorgeous, warm day in the city of Philadelphia.
Oh, yes. And I'm sure you're wishing you were at least cold in Detroit tonight, but you get to sit here on your couch with me. I hope you're excited about it.
Woohoo.
I love it. Listen, though, Sixers had a tough battle tonight against the Pistons. Really made it a lot harder on the Sixers than I expected. I don't know about you, but they got the job done at the end of it, even with Joel Embiid not playing up to his standards or the team standards, kind of for the second night in a row. So what did you see in tonight's game that you want to talk about?
So first and foremost, Maxey, I thought was just tremendous.
Sure.
I thought they were a little bit lethargic in in parts of the game, just because second night of the back-to-back, and I just sort of I was pretty impressed just by the general effort of the team when things mattered. The second unit has basically put them ahead for good and kind of knocked Detroit out of the picture. For and that was the third game they'd done that already this year. So I was pretty impressed. I was really impressed by that. I just thought that Doc really did a good job tonight, I thought, with his adjustments. He went ultra big after starting small and played Paul Reed at the 4 and whoever else at the 5. And the Pistons went from basically being they were like pogo sticks getting to the second, getting to offensive rebounds. As soon as Paul Reed comes in there and they adjust, the Sixers control the glass and they're limiting Detroit to one possession, and it was really good. It was really good to see. Doc, I thought, adjusted well. Embiid still struggling. They're doing it in spite of those struggles, and in spite of, or I guess despite, as you might say, despite Tobias Harris being gone with COVID, and despite Danny Green being out. So really good 5-game winning streak for them. They rattled 3 impressive wins off in a row against teams that are either vying for playoff positioning or at least dangerous in their respective conferences. And they've gutted out wins, and they've been it shows that they have heart and they have depth, and it's been a very pleasant surprise early on.
Yeah, something that you weren't kidding about, you said earlier in your statement just then, was the rebounding tonight. Something that was really interesting and kind of was vying for both teams at times. You saw early on the Pistons able to just get any rebound they wanted, it seemed like. And then as soon as Doc Rivers decided to throw in some bigger lineups with George Niang at the small forward, throwing Paul Reed in at the 4, and putting either, like you said, Drummond or Embiid at the 5. You saw Paul Reed, who I believe didn't play that many minutes tonight. He only played 14 minutes, and he had 9 rebounds in those 14 minutes. Paul Reed, believe it or not, guys, last year in the G League had the same or just about the same rebound percentage as Clint Capella, who had the highest rebound percentage in the NBA this past season, also having the most rebounds in the league this past season. So that says a lot about a guy for being really in his first year full-time in the NBA. So you like to see that out of a young guy, Paul Reed, coming in and getting you those rebounds and fighting for those extra offensive rebounds as well. Speaking of a rebounder, Drummond, 17 minutes tonight, 8 points, 10 rebounds, a plus 20, led the game in plus minus back at the court where he played a good portion of his career. Now, there was a lot of boos coming down on Andre Drummond tonight. Tobias Harris tweeted about it during the game. What did you see, and why do you think the Pistons fans are booing Andre Drummond?
I don't know why they're booing him, especially because I mean he stuck with their franchise for how long and was a 2-time All-Star with them, and they
Yeah,
traded him. It wasn't like he forced to trade out. They traded him, um, and so it was. I think what that speaks to really more than anything is that people love to rag on fan bases
yeah,
uh, that are in big markets, but the reality is that all fan bases boo for the most part.
yeah.
When teams don't play well. So um, you know that's what it is. But not going to change a narrative overnight. So
True, true, true. Now, another big thing that happened in this game, obviously, you talked about a Tyrese Maxey. His birthday tonight. Tyrese Maxey, the young guy, turns 21, scores 20 points on 8 of 12. Good shooting night. You even saw him shoot 2 for 4 from behind the arc. Something that we haven't seen much of in the early in the season in games. He was missing threes, not taking threes. Tonight, you see him really stretch the court and really open up his whole game. Got floaters in, had some nice layups at the rim, got some and ones. Honestly, probably one of the best games we've seen, even defensively. So, what were you thinking about Maxey tonight?
um, well, first I thought he was a lot more aggressive looking for outside shots. I thought in the last couple of games he had passed up some jumpers and he was a little bit unsure of his jumper. And tonight he was stepping into them with confidence. He's leveraging his floater a little more now than he was before. And I've said this from the start, but like he's a really crafty finisher around the basket. That was evident early on last year, and that's
Yeah,
something that's going to help him at his size
for sure.
forever. So I also thought that there were a couple plays where on the defensive side where he got steals or he had like he had like late doubles and forced turnovers. A guy his size is the way that he's gonna stay on the court defensively is by IQ and being and staying low in a stance. And I think his IQ is improving on the defensive end very quickly. And the more they can keep him on, the better off they are.
Yeah, and I think the
Another
biggest
news: water is wet.
I think the biggest thing you see about his defense, and me, Tiago, and Dibes talked about this last game, is that he's just getting good contests on guys. Now, Maxi, like you said, he is undersized. He's about probably like what, 6 foot, 6'1". He's not a big guard in this league by any means. But the biggest thing you can do when you're that size, and Fred VanVleet, who is a good on ball defender, even with his size, the best thing you can do is contest the ball. Is contest the shooter. That's the best thing you can do. And we've seen him hustling around screens, doing what he can and doing his part defensively, and also getting some steals every now and again. I believe he had 2 steals tonight. On top of that, another guy I want to discuss, Curry. Seth Curry, dude, I don't know what it is. And I think it's been exhausted, this conversation about this Daryl Morey and the Sixers winning this trade to trade away Josh Richardson and the second round pick in the draft to bring in Seth Curry. You traded away damn near nothing to bring this guy in, and he's pretty much been your number one scoring option all season behind Joel. Now, and when Joel's struggling, he's the guy they go to. He's the go-to guy right now, even when Tobias Harris is on the court. So you can't even comprehend the kind of value you have in a player like that that's only making $10 million. So what are you thinking about Curry? Is something about this offense that just gets him the ball in better places than he has in other parts of the league? Or like what is it about Curry that just makes him explode in this way on the Sixers?
I think number one, it's just like his work ethic. Like when you, as a shooter, when you really work hard on your craft, um, you get into these zones, and you have them more often than not, where it's just like, as long as you have a good grip of the ball and you can get through your normal shooting motion, it's going to be a bucket. And right now
Yeah.
he's in one of those zones where he just can't miss. It'll probably might it would have to normalize, I think, because he's just so unconscious right now. But and I'm reserving this tweet for a different part of the season. But if the shooting variance and efficiency continues to fluctuate and really be down for a
Yeah.
lot of the guys in the league, I think he has a chance to be an all-star.
Wow. That's I mean, listen, I think that is a valid take right now. I don't know what he's averaging on the season at the moment, but I know he's scoring.
I think it's preposterous.
Is it? Yeah, I know he's probably scoring. He's probably averaging probably around like 24 to 21, probably between that. I don't know if you're looking it up right now, but Seth Curry, I don't disagree with that. He's the second best player on one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference right now. It's not beyond anyone's thought process. Now it's crazy to think about a guy that started out in the G League,
So,
came up as a bench player.
just to set the record straight,
Yeah.
he's shooting 61.2 from the field,
Yep.
68.2 on twos. That's
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
That's like center number right there.
Mind you, listen to this. He's shooting over 80% from between 16 and 18 feet away from the basket.
I don't know how you do that. That's pretty cool. But
Honestly,
his effective field goal percentage, which basically is a number that I like to use because it weights 3-pointers a little heavier than 2-pointers, which basically I think is a more accurate representation of field goal percentage in a sense.
yeah.
Shooting 74.1% EFG, effective field goal. So that's
That's the high, that has to be one of the, like, if it's not the highest in the league, it's got to be up there, right? Like that's
probably, and his career average is 59.2. So
that's insane. That's insane.
yeah.
Now, mind you, he obviously is getting, like, Curry is obviously getting the ball and he's getting more opportunities. Like, he's basically running, in my opinion, he's basically running the point guard out of the half court offense right now. Like, he's at the top of the key with Joel Embiid almost every play, running dribble handoffs and running pick and rolls with him. To me, it's pretty blatant that he is the center. He is the ball handler in this half court offense at the moment. So it makes sense why he's getting the opportunities. The biggest thing is a guy of his caliber, of his size, and where he came from in this league, you would never think that he'd be capable of hitting these numbers as consistently as he's been. And this isn't even just this year. We've noticed this over the course of last season, in the playoffs, and now right now. And it's just so impressive. And I don't think anybody expected for what you gave up for him, for what he came in the league as, and for how much he's been bouncing around the league. I don't think anyone expected him for him to stick this well with the Sixers on this team. So you just love to see that out of a guy.
So just I want people to keep this in mind. While everyone was complaining about this and that and yelling at Daryl Morey to trade Ben Simmons for toilet paper.
Yeah.
He went out and got Georges Niang for
$3.4 million, I believe it is.
They got Andre Drummond on a veteran minimum deal.
$2.4 million.
On draft night a season ago when people were very low on the Sixers and Morey was fresh. He goes and he trades a disastrous Josh Richardson, who still hasn't taken accountability for his own bullshit as a Sixer, and has just blamed everybody since he's been bad, except for himself. He goes and he gets Seth Curry for Josh Richardson and a pick that is no longer with the Mavs. So Daryl has I wouldn't even say won. I'd say Daryl Morey has dominated on the margins.
The only margin I would say that in recent trades and pickups that he's kind of made a mistake on is the George Hill trade. That's the only one that I think as of right now, and even he said that. Even he has come out in interviews and said, you know what, maybe that wasn't the best move. Maybe keeping on, oh my goodness, Tony Bradley Jr. might have been a little bit better because George Hill wasn't as productive as they wanted him to be. But that's hindsight 2020 type stuff. My point is your point's correct. He has won.
Well, I know it's correct. That's why I said it.
And here comes the cocky crow. Cocky crow is here. Everybody, guys, listen. It's true though. It's true. Daryl has done a very, very good job to this point of moves and signings, and it is really impressive. And to your point, you said Georges Niang. I want to talk about Georges Niang. Georges Niang. You could argue Georges Niang should be starting on this team after
Yes,
you could completely argue that he should be starting the small forward position once Tobias Harris comes back. It's a fact. Like Georges Niang has played very, very good defense on all size positions so far. He's been shooting the ball extremely efficiently with the quick trigger that he has. It's insane. And now, mind you, I wouldn't want to take his leadership because he definitely has shown some leadership on this team off of the
wait. Did you thought I misheard that? Did you say that you wanted to bench Tobias for Georges Niang?
No. I said Danny Green. Once Tobias comes back, there's argument that you could say putting Georges Niang at the small forward and having Tobias Harris play the power forward when he comes back. Now I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying that you could make an argument with how good this guy's playing on both ends of the court. Georges Niang tonight, 14 points, 7 rebounds. Mind you, the shooting numbers, the shooting splits aren't even anything crazy. It's 4 of 11 from the field and 3 of 10 from behind the arc. But he was still a plus 18 on the night for the defense that he was playing on Jeremy Grant, and the fact that he's getting the shots off inside the offense. To me, that's the biggest thing about a player like that who's a good role player is he wasn't forcing there wasn't anything forced, and that's what I like to see.
So a little bit about Niang that's just remarkable in a good way. His 3-point rate, which I like to think about it as how many shots out of 100 are going to be 3 points, 2-point shots. His 3-point rate is 66.2%. So 66.2 out of 100 shots from Niang are going to be threes. That's a really high, really high 3-point volume.
Yeah.
He is attempting per 36 minutes 9.5 threes. He's making 4.2 of them. So he's shooting 44.4% on a 3-point rate.
Astronomical.
Yeah. High, incredible volume, and he's making a lot of them.
Yeah.
So really good stuff out of Georges Niang. Exactly what they wanted out of him.
Something that I think is also not even just talk about Georges Niang, but George Niang, not Georges. I keep calling him Georges. His name is George. I apologize. Something about Georges Niang as well, and it's not even just about him. It's about the bench in general. The bench was still super efficient and good today, and it wasn't. They didn't even have Furkan Korkmaz, who's been a huge piece of that bench for this season to this point. Like, what is going on? Is the bench production going to be consistent throughout this year? Do you think? Because tonight, now let me look at the numbers. Tonight, bench scored 30 in comparison to the Pistons 26, and the bench has been consistently scoring these kinds of numbers, even more than 30 at most times. So, what do you think? What are you seeing out of this team that all of a sudden, not even just with Georges Niang, but in general, it seems like all the guys are playing up to some really high standards.
You said all of them?
Yeah, like just in general, the bench itself. Do you think this production is going to keep up? And why do you think the production has gotten to this level?
So I don't. Well, I think it's possible for the bench to keep up. I just think they're very deep. Now, why they've gotten to this level? Number one, I just think that they have a lot more versatility with their depth. Like Drummond, as limited as he is as an offensive player at times, he can first he's a good screener. He doesn't foul while screening. So that already makes him better than Dwight. He also can pass really well as a big. Not only does that allow them to set up an offense and run it off the bench through the nail, but it also allows them to say, hey, we're going to run pick and rolls, and we're going to have our guards look for those, look for you on the way to the rim. Why is that? Because that sets up a short roll. Out of the short roll, that basically serves as the connective tissue within the offense. That if you leave a guy in the weak side corner, let's say you put Korkmaz weak side corner, you put Niang weak side corner, that having a guy like Drummond there really adds connective tissue to that offense off the bench, and it really makes your playmaking better. The offense basically unclogs itself, and that's really, really helpful. They haven't had that in years past. And Shake, I think, is a lot more comfortable as a ball handler now. And beyond that, I just think, everything from top to bottom has been really good to start the year. And so, they can certainly keep it up. I would like to have like another creator off the bench, just someone that can like provide an alternative look to
Like
what
shot creating or playmaking?
both, because I think they're both. I think they're synonymous.
Yeah.
But I would certainly say that it all looks sustainable. The shooting I think has been really good, and those are all things that help spacing, and that's what allows Drummond to stay active and sort of a catalyst of what they do on offense. I would love to see Thibel's volume go up a little bit, in terms of his willingness to shoot threes. Even if he's not making a ton of them, he's willing to shoot them, because you don't need to make them necessarily. You just need to get a defender to think in his mind, this guy's a really confident shooter. I have to go out and put a hand up. I have to take one extra half step and get my hand up in his face.
And here's my thing with Matisse. I do think he has the capabilities of being a confident shooter. I really do. Like, I think he's a guy who, with time, can be a confident shooter in this league.
Yeah. I don't know.
Nobody knows, but I do think it is possible.
I would leave on the side of I don't think he can become that, because if he was going to, I think he already would have. But
and listen, you could be right. I just, from what I saw when he played in the Olympics this summer, and for what I see at times with the Sixers, to me, a lot of it has to do with him not being in a starting role and not really getting that opportunity to shoot as much. I think if he was given the opportunity to get more corner threes, kind of like what Danny Green was getting last year with the Sixers, and maybe obviously Danny Green was getting a lot of threes last year with Ben Simmons on the court. I think, though, Matisse getting corner three-point shots, I think he is going to be a really good corner three-point shooter in this league at some point. I really do.
We'll see.
That's all you can say. That's all you can say. Do you have anything else that you saw this game that you want to talk about specifically? Whether it be Pistons or Sixers?
Yeah. Tough for Cade Cunningham. He's struggling, and then you get Matisse Thybulle coming in to your house, and
I saw you tweet that.
You just got engulfed by him.
Cade Cunningham, 31 minutes, 18 points, 4 assists, 10 rebounds, had 18 points on 17 shots, went 4 for 17 from the field, 1 for 7 from three-point territory. The only thing that saved his numbers a little bit tonight was going 9 for 10 from the free throw line.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, yes, like a really good game, but I also just think I'm trying to figure out how the right way to word this. This is awkward. Wow.
Look at here. Austin's dropping the ball right now. You dropping the ball.
Right. Forgot two things. A couple other things that really helped them. Shake Milton's comfort level just outside the ball screen has elevated to a new high. He's not as comfortable in the 3-point shot. It's a little flat, but he clears that Drummond screen, and I think those Drummond screens have really helped him a lot. But he's really comfortable in the mid-range right now, and it's become like a break in case of emergency type look for him, where he's just like he's getting to his spots, he's creating space, and he's just nailing these little pull-up jimmies in the mid-range. Another thing I think that people kind of underestimate or maybe undervalue, Curry doesn't just make shots. Mm-hmm. He doesn't get rim. It's all net. You never see him rattle shots home. When he shoots it, it is literally all net every single time.
Dude, it's scary. That's a guy you never want to
play. That is what marksmanship looks like, my friends.
Yeah, and that's a guy who like it's a guy you just don't want to play. Like realistically, when there's a guy who is sinking shots like that. It just like it's not hitting anything. You're like, okay, this guy's on another level. He's on another level. And there's only a few guys, honestly, in the NBA that consistently can shoot like that.
Yeah.
There's only a few. And the Sixers got one of them for Josh Richardson and a second-round pick.
This is probably a bit of a hot take.
Okay. Okay, guys, be ready.
And
Be ready here.
again, this is not me saying that he's a better player overall, or that he's this or he's that, because he's not. He's not. But I think just in a vacuum, Seth is probably a better shooter than Steph.
Oh
Now,
oh my God.
that isn't,
Guys, clip that right now for the rest of Austin's career. This is his Max Kellerman moment. With everything on the line, who do you want?
No. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I said in a vacuum, I think like the better standstill shooter.
Okay, see, now you said standstill though.
I said in a vacuum. That means like you take away all context.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just like, and again, like Steph's a better creator. He's a better long range shooter. The better long range shooter is undoubtedly Steph.
They have completely different shot forms though, so it makes sense.
Yeah. But just the better overall shooter. If you were to have a shooting contest, I think Seth would probably win by a couple of shots.
I think that is a pretty hot take. I mean, I think there's always been that trend around that Seth's the better Curry. There's always been that trend of the fact that Seth Curry has, I think, the highest 3-point percentage ever. I think he's got the best 3-point percentage in NBA history still right now, above Steve Kerr. So like it makes sense what you're saying. I think it's just hard for people to wrap their brain around the fact that this year there is a good possibility you see Steph Curry and Seth Curry in the NBA All-Star game. I think that is hard for people to wrap their heads around because Seth, like I said this earlier, Seth has been bouncing around team to team, Portland, Golden State, Dallas Mavericks. He's been bouncing around for a good bit now. This man is almost 30 is 30 years old, correct?
32. You give me 32.
This man.
I looked this up tonight. He would be, if he were to make the All-Star team this year, he would be like, I don't know exactly where he'd fall, but Kyle Korver was like 33 when he made his first All-Star game and his only All-Star game. I would guess that Seth would probably fall in like the top 5 to 10 oldest players of all time to be named a first-time All-Star.
Listen, man. If he can somehow stay anywhere close to the numbers he's putting up right now in the Sixers' first 8 games, yeah. I don't disagree with you. I think there's a very strong chance. Now, do I think he's going to keep his numbers like this? No, I don't. Do I think that he's going to make the All-Star game? No, I don't. Because I think at some point Tobias Harris is going to come back. I think at some point Joel Embiid is going to start shooting better. And I think at some point Ben Simmons is going to be traded for somebody who may take some of Seth Curry's shots away. But for the time being, I think it is a very strong possibility.
I think, again, if you remember, I contextualized it. I said, if the contingency is not necessarily him coming back down to earth, it's that do the other guys around the NBA that are around the East that are a little bit slow to start because of the ball, whatever, do they come back to earth and normalize and elevate their play? Because if not, I think that's where Seth's advantage could be, because he's had a hot start. And he's already ahead of the game in some senses. Mm-hmm. Now, if they are able to normalize, even if Seth stays the way he is, they're still going to blow him out of the water at some point, because they're higher usage players, they're bigger players that can score a different variety of ways. But I think right now, regardless of what Petronius says, so I think he's on some Patron right now. I think Seth has a case to be an All-Star. I mean, if Tobias misses extended time and they keep winning games, I mean, you're going to look at Joel because not because of what he's done on offense, by the way, because of what he's done on defense.
Yeah.
You're going to look at Joel, and you're going to have to look at Seth. So.
Yeah, and I don't think any educated basketball fan right now could disagree with what you're saying. I hear obviously there's a lot of circumstances that could change what's going on right now with the Sixers and who's hot and who's not, but you never know. Apparently, Seth Curry really likes Wilson basketballs. That's all I'm going to say. But listen, do you have anything else you want to talk about before we head out of here?
I would like to, not that this matters to him or to their organization, but would like to express my sincerest disappointments with Robert Sarver and the Suns organization for the way that they have handled treated people the last 17 years. Obviously, it looks like it's a pretty bad situation there.
For sure.
Money does not put you above the law. It does not put you above human decency. And you have seen an owner take advantage of a small market team, being and basically think that he can get away with whatever he wants. And right now it's coming out, and it's terrible stories in the report from Baxter Holmes, who did a fantastic job on the story. But it's good that it's coming out, because the sooner it gets out there, the better they can, the quicker they can get new leadership there and cultivate some difference and some change for the next era.
I completely agree, and I can't say how it's so disappointing when you see people with that much influence and that much power do that, and good and well that they're not the only ones, and it's sad to think about. It's sad to think about people that have that much power and that much influence and that much effect on society and on the sports you love and on people around them that do terrible things. And it's sad. And I agree with you. I hope that quickly and swiftly someone else is brought in there and is able to create a new environment and create a new standard for that organization and for the NBA in general. So I agree. Great words, Austin.
Hey, Ram, the answer is you're gonna have to feel bad forever because of Bob Voulgaris and whoever else was in charge of that Mavericks fiesta when they made that trade.
All right, man. Well, let's get out of here. The Sixers win tonight, 109-98 against the Detroit Pistons. Good win. On to the next one, and I believe it is on to the Bulls, if I'm not mistaken. So
that's correct.
So we will see. We will see how that rematch goes.
Yes.
See if DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine better the Sixers.
And before we go, not that I want to hear myself talk some more because I'm sick, obviously, congested. But I just tweeted this out a little while ago. But in a world full of in a sports culture full of criticism and need for hot takery, the Sixers, you can it's okay to let your guard down a little bit and have some positivity in your thought processes. The Sixers have played very well. They played with a lot of heart over these last couple of games, and they've strung together not only a 5-game winning streak, but 3 of those 5 wins have featured some pretty impressive wins against the Hawks, Bulls, and a Portland team that is that is strong in the ways that the Sixers are vulnerable. So good. So 3 good, 5-game winning streak, 3 good wins in the middle of that streak. So, maybe they can keep it going. Maybe they can't. We'll see. But Sixers fans, hold your heads up high.
Definitely. Completely agree. And Austin, I appreciate you coming on with me. Appreciate this always. It was nice talking to you. And please shout yourself out. Talk to him. Tell him what you got going on.
I am, as Justin said at the beginning, I am the Sixers beat reporter for the Painted Line, so you can always catch me covering the team in person, live from the center, and I'm always writing. I'm always looking for new things to talk about and reports and whatnot. So good stuff. I hope my readers like it. Obviously, subscribe to the YouTube for Justin, because he is the one who he and Dibes are the ones that put together tremendous content.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Also, if you'd like, you can go follow both me and Austin on Twitter. Guys, we got some stuff going on. Blue Coat season starting this
Right.
Saturday. I
Justin,
will be down there.
Justin, you know the rules. I taught you well. Don't disappoint me.
I will not disappoint you. And guys, please go follow me on Twitter if you want to hear all about Blue Coach. Jaden Springer, if you want updates on the Sixers' latest first-round draft pick. If you want updates on Aaron Henry, Shaq Harrison, and so many other Sixers and Blue Coats, please go give me a follow, and I will keep you updated on what is going on down at the Chase Fieldhouse. So go follow me there.
Leave your selfie stick in the car.
You know what? Listen, man, I don't own one, but I'll make sure to. I might get one just to bring it with me, just to, as the irony of the painted lions culture. Anyway, inside jokes, we love it. So, guys, we will see y'all next time. We appreciate y'all joining us, and you didn't have to put that up there. Peace.